We'll pick it up. First is Colossians 3, verse 17, of course. Colossians 3, verse 17.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the other one, Hamashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Most High, the Father by Him.
Right. All things we do in word or deed, we do all in the name of the Most High, Hamashiach Yahushai. Then we thank Him, right, for returning our riches unto us by keeping His promise that He made to Abraham. Right? You know, that promise that to this day we're living in it, that He would not forget His own. He said He will never cast off Israel. Come on? No matter what year, no matter how much thousand years of passing this earth, Israel is still His chosen. All right? When He chose you forever. He preferred you forever. And we have in a short time that we have to live on this earth, we got to prefer the Most High. Right? Just the way He showed us love, we got to show Him back love. Hallelujah. So that's why we gather here to walk in His ways, to walk in His covenants, to show Him the love that He has shown us. He said, if we love Him, keep the commandments. Come on. So it was ordained that we have to celebrate the Purim in the space of 2 days. So we celebrated yesterday, and we're going to continue to celebrate tonight. All right? And this is how we keep the Most High's laws and how we follow Him that has given us life and victory. So we're going to go right into the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 1.
The book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 1. Now in the 12th month, that is the month Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution, and the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hated them.
Right.
The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of King Asarius to lay hand on such as sought their hurt. And no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all the people.
Come on.
And all the rulers of the provinces and the lieutenants and the deputies and officers of the king helped the Jews because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them.
Right. All the officials, right? Can you imagine if the police is helping us? Right? They're another nation. Remember, this is King Azarius. What nation is ruling at this time? The Persians. So the Persians is helping the Israelites against those that hated us, against those that sought to see our destruction. All right. So that shows you that when his ways please the Most High, right? He can even make his enemies to be at peace with him. Right? Because normally the Persians would be against us, but no, they were fighting for us. All right, let's read.
Verse 4. For Mordecai was great in the king's house.
Right, so Mordecai was great in the king's house. So we under another rulership of another people, but what? Mordecai was great. Right? Mordecai didn't beg. He was about his father's business. Right? And he was known throughout all the provinces because of his ability to, stand on the principles of the Most High. He didn't bend. Right? He knew that the Most High was going to save his people. Let's read.
Verse 4. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater.
Right?
Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword,
Right?
and slaughter and destruction, and did what they would unto those that hated them.
Come on.
And in Shushan, the palace, the Jews slew and destroyed 500 men. And Parshadatha, and Dalphon, and Aspatha, and Palatha, and Adalia, and Arentha, and Parmeshta, and Erisai, and Eridai, and Vashtha, the 10 sons of Haman, the sons of Hamatha, the enemy of the Jews, slew they, but on the spoil laid their hand.
Right? They killed all Ham's sons. So he just killed Ham, they killed all his sons, his 10 sons also. Because they all was in cahoots to destroy the Israelites. So when the time comes for us to rise up against our enemy, that's how the Most High operate. All right. When it comes to time to rise up against our enemy, how did he say? What did he say he was going to do? Get
Isaiah 13.
Yeah, you can give me that, or you can give me Jeremiah 51. Bad axe weapons of war. Yeah. Jeremiah 51 and 19. You can start with 19.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 20. Thou art my battle axe.
No, chapter 19.
Verse 19. The portion of Jacob is not like them,
Right?
for he is a former of all things.
Right. So you're the former of all things. You're not like everybody else. The portion of Jacob is not like everybody else. Right? Everything was formed for you. Right? The earth was created for you. Read on.
And Israel is the rod of his inheritance.
Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Meaning we're going to receive it all from the Most High. Right? This is where his inheritance is going, to the Israelites. Read on.
The Lord of hosts is his name.
Come on.
Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war.
Come on.
For with thee will I break in pieces the nations.
Come on.
And with thee will I destroy kingdoms.
We're to destroy kingdoms. Read on.
And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider.
Read on.
And with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider.
Come on.
With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman.
Come on.
And with thee will I break in pieces old and young.
Read on.
And with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid.
You see how the Most High operate? When you're ready to bring judgment, it doesn't matter what you are. Old, young, male, female, child, grown, that's it. When Most High brings forth that judgment, we all just souls in his eyesight. See, we look at children, we say, well, the children are innocent. Most High talked about dashing a child against a stone. Right? That's when the Most High's anger is going to be performed on this earth. There's no respect of persons. Everybody understand that? Read on.
Verse 23. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock.
Come on.
And with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen.
Read on.
And with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers.
Read on.
And I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion.
Exactly. So the same way the Most High, the Most High don't change. So when we read it in the book of Esther, when they said they started slaughtering every enemy of Israel, right? Them, the sons, their families, that everybody was coming up against Israel to destroy us was going to get destroyed. Because that's the way the Most High operates. When his wrath is poured out. Let's go back to Esther, the 9th chapter. So when the Most High's wrath is poured out, right, there's nobody that's, or maybe not them. No one has a pass. Right? The wrath is poured out. It's going to everybody that's in cahoots. That might have been, whether you was swinging the sword, you were just a cheerleader for the wicked. You was getting it too. Right? Whether it was you, and people say, it wasn't me, I didn't pull the trigger, no matter if you pulled the trigger, or you was just the getaway driver. Everybody's getting it. Right, let's read that.
The book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
On that day, the number of those that were slain in Shushan, the palace, was brought before the king.
Uh-huh.
And the king said unto Esther, the queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in Shushan, the palace, and the 10 sons of Haman. What have they done in the rest of the king's provinces?
Uh-huh.
Now what is thy petition, and it shall be granted thee?
Come on.
Or what is thy request further, and it shall be done? Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews, which are in Shushan, to do tomorrow, also according unto this day's decree. And let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows.
Right.
And the king commanded it to be done. And the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons.
What does that mean, the gallows? What's the gallows? They were hung on the gallows, but what are the gallows? Give me more explanation. What are the gallows? It's a wooden platform, like what? Huh? To be seen on what? To be on display, hang real high, just like they did to our forefathers here in America, right? They didn't call it the gallows, but we were hung on the gallows in America, right? They called them trees. They called them, they had the noose hanging from the high, from on high to make what an example, to show that these things existed way before we here in America, right? They got that from going to the history, right? And it was for an example. So just like we had Haman and his 10 sons on the gallows to make an example of what happens if you come against the Lord's chosen people. Am I saying that? It was this message to the future generations. Right? If anybody was thinking maybe they can still come against Israel, they see the 10 men hanging on the gallows, they go, I think not. That's a way that they broke, a lot of our people, the ability to stand up against the so-called white man. Right? Psychologically, seeing how people are hanging on those trees, right, we get to begin to think and generationally that we can't stand up against them, that we can't win that battle. Right? So that's why when this truth comes out, we have to break that mind state. Right? That's what they call a slave mentality. Right? We have to break that mind state because that's psychological to put and hang these supposed to be great men of power, and now they're hanging before the people. All right, let's read.
In the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 15. For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day, also in the month of Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan. But on the prey they laid not their hand.
Come on.
But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together, and stood for their lives, and had rest from their enemies, and slew of their foes 75,000, but they laid not their hands on the prey. On the 13th day of the month Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested they, and made it a day of feasting and gladness.
Right. So these 2 days are days of feasting and gladness. Those that were there last night, we had feasting and gladness. Come on. And we're going to continue that. It's going to be 2 days of feasting and gladness. All right, let's read.
But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th thereof, and on the 15th day of the same they rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness and feasting, and a good day, and of sending portions one to another.
So what does that mean, sending portions one to another? Gifts, right? That's why this is a gift-giving celebration holiday, because it's recorded that we send portions one to another. I mean, we give each other gifts. In the midst of our feasting and our gladness, we exchanged gifts, right? So why do we exchange gifts on this feast day? Because it's recorded in scriptures. All right. So we do everything that's according to the scriptures. All right. Read on.
Verse 20. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in the provinces of King Asarius, both nigh and far, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar and the 15th day of the same yearly.
What's that? Yearly. So every year, the 14th and 15th day, we keep it yearly to celebrate, right? With feasting and gladness and giving of portions one to another. Let's read.
As the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, in the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor.
Right.
And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun. And as Mordecai had written unto them, because Haman the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast pur, that is the lot, to consume them and to destroy them.
Right. So what does it mean to cast pur? What is pur in Hebrew? What is that? That's a Hebrew word right there. They never transliterated that word. They put the Hebrew word right into the script. So what does pur mean? Right. It gave you a little example. It says, therefore, what does it mean to cast pur? It said casting lots. Gamble, right? Kind of to gamble or to a game of chance, right? That's what casting pur is. Like flipping a coin is an example of casting pur. You don't know how that coin is going to fall, right? What they have, we have different ways of drawing straws, right? There's another one. People draw a straw. Who draw a straw to straw? Another names in the hat. That's a way of casting pur. So we did names in the hat. That's why we do that, because it's a way of casting pur. You don't know whose name you're going to get. You don't know who's going to give you a gift or whose gift you have to give someone. So these are all ways of casting pur. You know, playing games, different card games, different games. We're going to play all kind of games this evening. Here we have some games that we're going to also play that's set up on the screen. If Judah, when he gets here, because he has that information on how to set that up. But these are different ways of casting pur, and this is where you celebrate it, not just at the school, but even in your homes. This is where you celebrate these 2 days. You know, it should be a days. You know, this is how you make it a heritage to your children, so they can continue to do this and for their children, right? You know, that's what we teach the Lord to our children, so they can teach it to their children, generation after generation, knowing that they have these 2 days, right, in the 12th month of the biblical year, right, which falls about late February, early March, right? And these 2 days was a day of gladness, a day of games, a day of casting pur, right? This is going to be in their spirit. Just like we learned all Esau's wicked holidays, right? We have our own days, right? You know, our heritage is being returned on to us. So we have to make it live. It's our responsibility to make these days great. Hallelujah. Right? Because if we don't make them great, we can't wait for the nations. The nations can't glorify these days. It's not given to them. These days aren't given to them. It's only given to the children of Israel. So it's on us to glorify these days. So let us be glad therein, you know, and not let this kingdom prevent us. Because Esau, you know, he would just have us work and work and work and slave, and that's all your life will be if they get their way. But the Most High is gracious and kind to remind us that there's something greater than that on this earth. There's nothing greater than bullocks, right? And go what you need to do to get your daily bread in this kingdom, right? And that's his service. His services are greater than that. All right, so we have to keep it in mind, and that we put these times aside, right, ahead of time. So when it's time for us to glorify these days, that we're not found lacking. Everybody understand that? We don't want to be found lacking, because the Most High will take excuses very well. Right? You can't say the Most High pay my rent, man. You know? He said, "Didn't you know my day was coming? How many years were you doing this? Right? Didn't you know this was Purim? Were you not prepared? Why weren't you prepared?" All right. So we have to make sure that we're prepared for all his feast days, right? You know, we in preparation right now for what? For the Passover. Come on. Right? We're in preparation for the Passover. You know, we're getting the dues together. We got the place set up. We getting the garments made. Right? This is how we glorify the Most High's days. Okay, so we have to continue. This has to be not just for the Passover, but for all his holiday days. You got to have that spirit of preparation. All right? So these 2 days, we're going to celebrate. The next holiday, like I said, is going to be, that's going to be the new moon, the new year. right? And then after the new moon, then we have the Passover. 14 days after that, we have the Passover. So let's be prepared. Let's be prepared to celebrate, for it to be full of mirth and gladness. Hallelujah. Let's read.
Verse 25. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should be returned upon his own head,
Right.
and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows.
Right. We didn't come up with that idea to be hanging them on the gallows. They want to do that to us. So we said, what you know, the scriptures talk about what you wish on somebody else, what you try to put on somebody else falsely, right? A false witness try to put a sin on someone else and accuse them falsely. They would then have to fit that punishment, right? So if you set someone out to get killed, right, and get punished by way of death, and they were found innocent, that death will be on you now, right? That's how the Most High operate. So when these nations point their finger at Israel, right, the Most High put it right back on their own head, right? So all that, and if you see in this kingdom right now, a lot of the things that was devised against us end up affecting the oppressor, right? He would have put guns and drugs in our neighborhood, now his children's on guns and drugs, right? It's going to turn right back on their own head because the Most High don't change. Right? You don't change. It's the same spirits that's coming out in these times we're reading about are here alive on this earth today. There are those that hate the Hebrew Israelites. They would think to stop us. Right? But every device they come up with is going to be turned right back on their own head. Right? He didn't start YouTube for us to spread the word. That wasn't his idea. Right? YouTube was for him to spread his propaganda, so he can give a big voice to what he got going on. And what ended up happening? YouTube now is being used to bring what? His knowledge and wisdom of the Most High all around this earth, right? And connect us with all our people that scattered in the four corners of the earth, right? He wish he could pull it back right now, right? I think it was documented on Facebook that the Israelites, what it said, it was the fastest growing so-called religion on Facebook. It was documented by Facebook that all of a sudden, where did these people come from? Facebook is trying to figure this out, right? You know, all these names that's popping up, all these Hebraic names popping up all through Facebook, right? The people at Facebook down at their headquarters, they wonder what's going on. There's an explosion, right? Because why? The Most High is waking up his people. Right, that's prophecy coming to pass. Right, we have to be living in a time of witnessing the Great Awakening. You're a part of the Great Awakening, the marvelous work that was written about in the scriptures. That he said he would do it in a day that you won't believe what he would do. Right, and our people are waking up on a rapid pace. All right, so don't think when you see a few here, right, don't think there's a few in this earth waking up. There's many. All through all the four corners of the earth are waking up to their true nationality, their true heritage. And a lot of people are keeping Purim for free. Anybody just say first Purim? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Right? Even in this room of a few, we have first Purimers here. Right? There's first Purimers all over this earth, man. Right now, keeping Purim for the first time. You know? These were just stories that they read maybe in church. They didn't know. They didn't connect to it and realize that this was talking about them, right? But now that this awakening, this great awakening is happening in the earth, we can go into this book and see this is how we stood up against it. I mean, this is what the Most High did for us, right? He elevated Mordecai, a Hebrew, in another kingdom rulership, and still elevated him to high ranks, right? So don't think that because you're a Hebrew Israelite, you can't get the Most High can't bless you and put you on a level. Listen, we have too many examples of that in Scripture. Daniel, right? Joseph, all rose to high levels in another kingdom. Hallelujah. Because they stayed righteous. They didn't rise to high levels and then go assimilate and become alchemists, right? They ain't going to become alchemists and switch. Right? And now we glorify the king over the Most High. No, they stayed true to the law, statute, commandments. They stayed true to their king, their power, their heritage. And that's what we're going to do. Hallelujah. Let's read on.
And that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows. Verse 26. Wherefore they called these days Purim, after the name of Pur. Therefore, for all the words of this letter, and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them, and upon their seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to the writing, and according to the appointed time every year, and that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed.
Right, the memorial remembrance, it should not perish. We have to keep this going. Should not fail from the Jews. Right, so it's our responsibility to pick up that torch and make sure it doesn't fail. So we got to teach our little ones to continue to keep this Purim. Right, when you strip away all those fake holidays in this kingdom, Christmas and all that stuff, you must fill it with the Most High's holy days. Hallelujah, and make them celebratory. Okay, celebratory times that we come together. Right? Something to tell you that we need to be grieving here in the kingdom. The scriptures don't say that. Right? The scriptures don't say that. He said, listen, these days are days of gladness. These days are days of feasting. These days are days of come together, of covenants, convocations, sorry. These are days to trade portions. These days, which means giving gifts. That's what these days are for. So we're going to glorify and work these days just the way the Most High told us to do. Let's read on.
Verse 29. Then Esther the queen, the daughter of Abiel, and Mordecai the Jew, wrote with all authority to confirm the second letter of Purim. And he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of King Ahasuerus, with words of peace and truth, to confirm these days of Purim in their times appointed, according as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed the matters of the fastings and their cry. And the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book.
Come on.
Chapter 10. And the king of Ahasuerus laid a tribute upon the land and upon the isles of the sea, and all the acts of his power and of his might, and the declaration of the greatness of Mordecai, whereunto the king advanced them, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia?
Right, it's written in their books too. Right? It's in their records on how the Most rose up Mordecai. It's not just in our records, it's in their records too. That's why these nations know who we are. They have a record of us, right? That's more detailed than the records that we even have, right? That's why the Ishmaelites, the Arabs, they're not falling for Esau talking about he's a Jew. They ain't falling for it because they have all the records right there saying you never was a Jew. You never was a Hebrew. Right? And they have these records right before their faces. Right? That's why you can't fool them. They can fool us, bring us over the ocean, take away our heritage, our nationality. Right? But that's why the Most High is merciful and kind to return it back to us in these last days. Let's read.
Verse 3. For Mordecai the Jew was next unto King Ahasuerus.
Man, he was next unto the king, man. He had high level, right? 127 provinces, and he was next under the king, right? Joseph was next under Pharaoh, right? Daniel was next under Nebuchadnezzar. To show you that this is where the Most High elevates you, he will elevate you almost to the top. We can't have the top of these kingdoms, but you could be next to the top. All right, let's read.
For Mordecai the Jew was next unto King Ahasuerus, and great among the Jews, and accepted of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people, and speaking peace to all his seed.
Right, so even though he was elevated next to King Ahasuerus, was he looking out for the people of the Persians? No. He was elevated and he's still looking out for his own. So not because you get a gift in his kingdom, you forget about who you are, who your people are. Mordecai is one of the greatest examples of true patriotism in the Bible. Right? No matter what they gave him, he was about his people. No matter what they offered him, and they walked him through the streets, they adorned him with the king's robe, right? They brought him through the streets, they gave him all the greatness and praise, and he still was about his own people. He never left off that. Right? So no matter what you get in this kingdom, you got to be about your people. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right, read on. Yeah, you get verse 4. Where's your verse 4 at? There you go. Get your apocrypha out. Get your verse 4. All right? That's not it. It ain't it. Right? Additions to Esther in your apocrypha. Come on, you got it. All right.
Right.
Yeah, right up from the beginning. It should start with verse 4, right? That's what you can start. Well, it's not blank. The next verse is 5, so you can do.
Okay, come. I got you.
All right.
Page 55 in the Apocrypha. The rest of the chapters of the book of Esther. Then Mordecai said, the Most High has done these things.
So now, why does it say Mordecai? Who knows? It doesn't say Mordecai. Why does it say Mordecai?
Once you're that level in rulership, that us kind of give it some kind of rulership.
That sounds good, but that's incorrect. How about you? Rule. Right, therefore.
So they use names like Mordecai, us.
Right, because anytime you hear the word cuss, right, that's a Greek or Latin, right? They added. Like you have Mark, then you have Marcus, right? That's Greek or Latin. They add that on to the words, right? You know, the E sound, the us sound, those are coming from another tongue. The Apocrypha was translated from Greek to English. Okay, that's why you see words a little different. Instead of Jeremiah, you see Jeremy, right? Instead of
Ezra's.
Instead of Ezra's, right? Instead of Joshua, right? You see what? Jesus, right? Because it comes from the Greek tongue, right? It comes from the Greek tongue, so that's why the words are a little different, but we know who it's referring to when we do our comparisons and our diligence in the word. Let's read.
Then Mordecai said, the Most High has done these things. Mm-hmm. For I remember a dream which I saw concerning these matters, and nothing thereof hath failed.
Come on.
A little fountain became a river, and there was light and the sun and much water. Mm-hmm. This river is Esther, right, whom the king married and made queen.
Right, so a little fountain became a river. Meaning she was just a beautiful woman, and she became so important in the salvation of Israel. Right, so something small became something great. Right?
And the two dragons are I and Ammon.
Mm-hmm.
And the nations were those that were assembled to destroy the name of the Jews. Mm-hmm. And my nation is this Israel, which cried to the Most High and was saved. For the Most High has saved his people, and the Most High has delivered us from all those evils. Mm-hmm. And the Most High has wrought signs and great wonders, which have not been done among the Gentiles.
Right.
Therefore hath he made two lots, one for the people of the Most High, and another for all the Gentiles.
Right. That's why the earth is separated into two. One for all the Gentiles, all the nations, all in one. Right? You know, I think there's some doctrines out there saying only, what they say, only, The Japhet is the Gentiles. That's one of the popular ones on YouTube nowadays. That's nonsense. All nations outside of Israel are Gentiles. Everybody understand that? The word Gentile comes from the Hebrew word goyim, right? Or goy, which means nations, right? All the nations outside of Hebrew Israelites are Gentile. Now, when we live like them, the Most High calls us Gentile, right? So in the New Testament, a lot of us talk about Gentiles coming back to the Most High. That's us going from living like Gentiles to coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Everybody say that? Let's read.
Verse 10. Therefore has he made two lots, one for the people of the Most High, and another for all the Gentiles. And these two lots came at the hour, and time, and day of judgment before the Most High among all nations.
Let's go.
So the Most High remembered his people and justified his inheritance.
Come on.
Therefore those days shall be unto them in the month Adar, the 14th and 15th day of the same month, with an assembly and joy.
With a
assembly and joy.
That's why we are assembling and we are full of joy. Are we are? All right, so now, y'all, some of y'all are tired. What y'all was doing? Y'all cutting cane all day? Huh? Esau still got you picking cotton? It's 2019. Yeah, all right, I tell you, one day we'll all be free. Right? But you can't be tired with the Most High. Don't bring tired to the Most High. He said bring joy, right? And gladness. That's what he requires of us. So whatever happened earlier, whatever you was going through, listen, you got to dust it off, right? You got to brush it off. All right, let's read.
With gladness before the Most High, according to the generations forever. How long? Forever. How long? Forever.
Forever, read on.
Among his people.
Among his people. So forever, we're supposed to be rolling with this, man. Joy and gladness forever amongst his people. So if you reckon yourself to be his people, you must be full of joy and gladness. Hallelujah. Let's read.
Chapter 11. In the 4th year of the reign of Ptolemy and Cleopatra and Josephus, who said he was a priest and Levite. And Ptolemy, his son, brought this epistle of Purim, which they said was the same.
Right.
That Lysimachus, the son of Ptolemy, that was in Jerusalem, had interpreted.
Come on.
You read it, right?
Read on.
In the 2nd year of the reign of Xerxes the Great.
Right. Xerxes the Great. Who's that talking about? Alexander the Great. That's right. Come on.
In the 1st day of the month Nisan, Mordecai the son of Jarius, the son of Samai, the son of Sisai, of the tribe of Benjamin,
Just let that be. He might get a lot of shy out. This would be a little shy too. All right, let's read.
Had a dream, who was a Jew, and dwelt in the city of Susa, a great man, being a servitor in the king's court.
Come on.
He was also one of the captives, which Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, carried from Jerusalem, with Jeconias, king of Judea. And this was his dream.
What was his dream? Come on.
Behold, a noise of tumult with thunder, and earthquakes, and uproar in the land. And behold, 2 great dragons came forth ready to fight.
Right, see that? Who was the 2 dragons? Who? Mordecai and Haman. That's right. Let's read.
And their cry was great. And at their cry, all nations were prepared to battle, that they might fight against the righteous people. And lo, a day of darkness, obscurity, tribulation and anguish, affliction and great uproar upon the earth.
Let's go.
And the whole righteous nation was troubled, fearing their own evils, and were ready to perish. Then they cried unto the Most High, and upon their cry, as it were from a little fountain, was made a great flood, even much water. The light and the sun rose up, and the Lord was awake. He bare this dream in mind, and so night by all means was desirous to know it.
Right. So we know that, the Most High said he would speak to us in a dream. And he uses similitudes, right, to let us know when he's guiding us. So oftentimes we may have dreams and he uses similitudes, but you need the interpretation of the dream. Right? A lot of times you won't see the interpretation until it all plays out. And when it starts to play out, that's when you get the interpretation of the dream. A lot of people, they want to know what the dream means before it plays out. Right? They want to see the end of the story before they start it. Right? We lack patience. But you have to go through the process, and then the dream is then interpreted. Everybody understand that? Right? Oftentimes, we might see something in the dream, we don't know what it means. Wait for it. Right? Wait for it. And then it will start to reveal itself as time goes forward. Let's read. Verse chapter 12.
Chapter 12. And Mordecai took his rest in the court with Gabbatha and Thora, the two eunuchs of the king, and keepers of the palace.
Right.
And he heard their devices and searched out their purpose, and learned that they were about to lay hands upon Artaxerxes, the king. And so he certified the king of them. Then the king examined the two eunuchs, and after that they had confessed it, they were strangled. And the king made a record of these things, and Mordecai also wrote thereof. So the king commanded Mordecai to serve in the court. For this he rewarded him. Howbeit Amon the son of Amadathias, the Agagite, who was in great honor with the king, sought to molest Mordecai and his people because of the two eunuchs of the king.
Right, come on.
Chapter 13.
Right, so we see that it's just giving us a brief synopsis of what we went over in the story. But it shows you that these things were recorded different places. These books were assembled, right, all having the same story recorded, but given different names, different angles, different characters that went along with the story. So that's why we got to compile all the information you get to then have a clear picture of what took place. That's why the scriptures tell us that it must be precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. That's how you compile a clear picture. See, the Bible is like a puzzle. You got to put them all together, all the verses together, so you can get a clear understanding of what took place and when it took place. Hallelujah? All right, last chapter 13. Let's go.
Chapter 13. The copy of the letters was this. The great king Artaxerxes writeth these things to the princes and governors that are under him, from India unto Ethiopia.
Right, from India onto Ethiopia. So if you look at the map, you see how big his province was. Stretching from India down to Ethiopia. Right? Coming from India, going all the way around, down into Africa, all the way down to Ethiopia, was all his provinces. Read on.
And 127 provinces. After that, I became lord over many.
Come on.
Nations, and had dominion over the whole world. Not lifted up with presumptions of my authority, but carrying myself always with equity and mildness. I purpose to settle my subjects continually in a quiet life, and making my kingdom peaceable, and open for passage to the utmost coast, to renew peace, which is the desire of all men. Now when I asked my counselors how this might be brought to pass, Amon, that excelled in wisdom among us, and was approved for his constant good will and steadfast fidelity, and had the honor of the second place in the kingdom, declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people,
right,
that had laws contrary to all nations.
So now whose people is that? Whose people is scattered amongst all the people? Let's see. Read on.
And continually despised the commandments of kings, so as the uniting of our kingdoms honorably intended by us cannot go forward.
So who is it talking about? Who is scattered amongst all the people? Hebrews, us. Right? They consider our ways to be what? Malicious against their ways. because we keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. When you keep the law, statutes, and commandments, these other nations, they can't excel off of you. They can't gain off of you, right? Because you're serving your God, right? So now you are moving in the midst of them, but you're your own people. You're a nation within a nation. Everybody understand that? We're a nation in exile. We might be amongst, in America, but we're not of America, right? We might be in China, we're not of China. We might be in Brazil, but we're not of Brazil, right? We're of the children of Israel. Everybody understand that? No matter where you are located, right? The Heavenly Father, in our captivities, spreads all over this earth, man. The Caribbean, we're not of those places. We're of the nation of Israel. We dwell in them places, right? Whether it be in the Caribbean, whether it be in South America, Central America, whether it's in different lands of Africa, North Africa, but we're still the same people. We're still a people that's been scattered. Let's read.
Verse 5. Seeing then we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men,
right?
Differing in the strange manner of their laws, and evil affected to our state.
Right. He said we were evil to their state. Right? Evil affected to their state. So when you keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, it affects the state. It affects these nations. That's why we always tell the brothers to see, we the ones tearing down Esau's kingdom, man. By keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. He had plans for us. We were supposed to be living a certain way, but we're not living that way. Right? We're not following the trends of America. We're not following. We're not in the mall on the Saturday like he was. We're not in the club on Friday night. Right? We're not celebrating his holiday. We're not spending money on his exchange, right? Unnecessarily. Right? We're looking out for our own. Con, what you got? Isaiah 1:9. Con. Right? This doing this work, it's destroying his kingdom. Right? We were supposed to be in a club on Saturday night. We had the street corners talking about the downfall of this nation. That wasn't part of his plan. Right? He wanted you to get drunk. He wanted you to be, get another 40 ounce. Right? But we're not getting another 40 ounce. I read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 9. Except the outer one of hosts had left us a very small remnant, right, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah.
That was his plan. These nations wanted us to be like Sodom and Gomorrah. Right? What was Sodom and Gomorrah known for? Wickedness and homosexuality, fornication, all this stuff. That's what they want for us. When they see us in homosexuality, they say, yeah, man, they praise us. You go. Right? They give you accolades. Talking about you brave, you came out. Right? That's how they want to see you. That's how they want to see our people, man. Right? They give them credit. They give them their name and lights. Give them fame. Right? Being different, being standing out, expressing themselves. They say, right? When all you doing is being like Sodom and after Gomorrah. That's all you doing, right? Which was fitted for what? For destruction. Right? Let's read.
Verse 5. Seeing then we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men, differing in the strange manner of their laws, and evil affected to our state, working all the mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established.
Right, so I'm guilty of some mischief in this kingdom. Right? He said, y'all working mischief that the kingdom won't be firmly established. Right? Why? Because we're not prescribing to their stuff. Right? We're standing against it. We're speaking against it. They consider that mischief. Right? To them, it is mischief. You got to look at that perspective. Right? When you stand up for righteousness, that's that. They don't want that. Right? That's not according to the plan. Read on.
Therefore have we commanded that all they that are signified in writing unto you by Ammon, who is ordained over all the affairs, is next unto us, shall all with their wives and children be utterly destroyed by the sword of their enemies, without all mercy and pity. The 14th day of the 12th month, Adar, of this present year, that they who of old and now also are malicious may in one day with violence go into the grave, and so ever hereafter cause our affairs to be well settled and without trouble.
Come on.
Verse 8. Then Mordecai thought upon all the works of the Most High and made his prayer unto him,
Right.
saying, O Adawan, the King Almighty, for the whole world is in thy power.
Come on.
And if thou hast appointed to save Israel, there is no man that can gainsay thee. For thou hast made heaven and earth and all the wondrous things under the heaven. Thou art one of all things, and there is no man that can resist thee, which art the one. Thou knowest all things, and thou knowest, one, that there is neither in contempt, nor pride, nor for any desire of glory, that I did not bow down to proud Ammon. For I could have been content with goodwill for the salvation of Israel, to kiss the soles of his feet. But I did this that I might not prefer the glory of man above the glory of the Most High.
Right, you hear what Mordecai said here? He said, I could have bowed down. I could have kissed the ring, and then everybody would have been okay. But he said, listen, I'm not going to please men before I please the Most High. Everybody understand that? Sometimes you got to go against the grain to stand up for the Most High and let the Most High bring the blessing. All right? It's not always to be to try to assimilate with the powers that be. You got to stand in your square. Hallelujah. Let's read.
Neither will I worship any but thee, O Adawan.
Come on.
Neither will I do it in pride. And now, O Adawan and King, spare thy people, for their eyes are upon us, to bring us to naught. Yea, they desire to destroy the inheritance that has been thine from the beginning. Despise not the portion which thou hast delivered out of Egypt for thine own self. Hear my prayer and be merciful unto thine inheritance. Turn our sorrow into joy, that we may live. O Adawan, and praise thy name, and destroy not the mouths of them that praise thee, O Adawan. All Israel in like manner cried most earnestly unto the Most High, because their death was before their eyes.
Right, so we cry out to the Most High. You know, we bewail unto our Father. Always tell you, man, whatever prayers you send up to the Most High, whatever you have to be going through, don't forget to pray for your salvation, the salvation of Israel. Right? Don't just get content with just praying that you get these bills paid, or pray that you make it through this week, or pray. Don't forget to pray that this whole place be destroyed. Yeah? And that the Most High's kingdom be established upon this earth. That got to be your most earnest desire. Anything else in this that we get in this kingdom, whatever blessing, whatever little inklings of joy we get, little time of birth, nothing can compare to the kingdom of heaven being established on this earth. All right? So let that be your prayer from this night forth, just like the prayer of our beloved Mordecai in the face of our enemies. So, of course, there's more. There's always more. Right? But, you should read the rest of these chapters all the way to the end, because there's more information, there's more knowledge, wisdom, understanding, or understanding Purim on a higher level. But, we kind of take it as a light thing, but it's not light in the sight of the Most High. This was a great victory. The Most High showed his will, his work through Mordecai and Esther. Just like he can work a great work through you all. Hallelujah. Yeah. Right. We're gonna work a great work. My check said, there's gonna be things we're gonna do far greater works than him. And to us, that sounds like how it's even possible. Right? The things that Yahweh did on this earth, but it wouldn't be written if it wasn't so. Right? It wouldn't be written if it wasn't so. So at this time, we're gonna send up the prayers of any and we're gonna begin the feast and things of that sort, and the time of mirth and gladness. Go ahead.
It's a reminder of March 23rd.
Right, March 23rd is the new moon. right? So at even, so let's remember that. Make sure you mark it down. Make sure you prepare, right? It doesn't come and catch you unawares. All right, Karen? All right, so this tonight, we're just going to enjoy. We have a game set up. We're going to play some, cast and pearl. We're going to play some games, interact, do one another. We're going to feast. We're going to just have a joyous evening. Any other? We're just going to send the prayers now, right? All right.
Okay. People been winding up. So, okay, yeah. But how they getting it? I don't know. I guess whenever they ask for it, they just serving it. So
Okay.
So yeah, just
Con. We'll do that later. All right. So, any questions about anything dealing with Esther, Mordecai, or our victory? Why we're celebrating these 2 days? So we're clear understanding why we're celebrating coming. All right. So let let that coming and be known. The Most High return our riches onto us, and for that we're truly glad. So this time we're going to blow the shofar. We're going to rise and face Jerusalem, set up the prayers unto the Most High, thanking Him for giving us this celebratory, the celebration of victory. Keep going. Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Who's the power? Who's the power? By Hashem? By Hashem? Rakathay Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahushai, Hawa'ah, Telanawa, Tawab, Yawam, Purim, Babakashab, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahushai, Barak, Rawapah, Rakazak, Ramagun, Rashma'ayel, Akim, Wa, Akwafim, Babakashai, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahushai, Barak, Ma'akov, Washatar, Watazak Shatar, Wayayan, Nawa, Tawara, Tamyad, Aman. Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for blessing us with this Purim, this great day, this good day, that we celebrate our history. And we pray that the Most High, we get the same victory in our day. We pray that the Most High send that same angel, that same spirit that's upon Mordecai, upon our sister Esther, to stand up for our nation these last days. Heavenly Father, give us the victory in the sight of our enemies. Give us continue to renew the covenant that was made with Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, that we are to be Thy people, that are to be our power. Hear our prayer and receive our supplication on high, and grant our petition that our kingdom is returned to us, that that the nation of Israel is reestablished upon this earth. Bless all the sanctuaries throughout the four corners of the earth. Bless all those that call upon Thy name, and renew a right spirit in all Israel, that we might come to Thee worthy of our salvation and our redemption. For it is written that deliverance shall be in Zion. Return us back to our land. Return us back to our place of rest, that we might praise Thy name and glorify our Father that is in heaven, in the sight of all the nations. All this we ask in the name of Thy Son, Hamashiach Yahushua. Let all that have breath praise Yahweh. Let all that have breath praise Yahweh. Bahashem Hamashiach Yahushua, Tawaratim Yad, Amen. Give Most High. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. In the mouth of babes, Yahweh perfected praise. In the mouth of babes, Yahweh perfected praise. In the mouth of babes, Yahweh perfected praise. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh yeah. From the top, let's go. In the mouth of babes, Yahweh perfected praise. In the mouth of babes, in the mouth of babes, Yahweh perfected praise. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh yeah, one more time. In the mouth of babes, in the mouth of babes, Yahweh perfected praise. In the mouth of babes, Yahweh perfected praise. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh yeah, glory, glory, glory. Glory, glory, hallelujah, hallelujah, yeah. Was I to be our ruler? Our enemies shall fall right before our feet. While the saints go marching. One more time. Glory, glory, hallelujah, hallelujah, yeah. Was I to be our ruler? Our enemies shall fall right before our feet. While the saints go marching. Hello, hello. While the saints go marching. While the saints go marching. While the saints go marching. Real, 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 real. Let's go. Real, real. Yahweh shines real to me. Hallelujah. Gives me the victory. Many people, but I can't live without. That is why Yahweh shine real to me. One more time. Real, 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 real. Hallelujah. Gives me the victory. Many people, but I can't live without it. That is why Yahweh shine. There's no power. There's no power. Great King of the universe, always doing let all Israel sing it. Sing amen. 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 Hallelujah. 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 Amen. 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 Hallelujah. Hallelujah. From the top, one more time. There's no power. Great King of the universe, always doing let all Israel singing. Sing amen. 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 Hallelujah. 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 Amen. 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 Hallelujah. We gonna count out for the top. One more time. Let's go. 1, Abraham. 2, Isaac. 3, Jacob. 4, brothers wake up. 5, new reality. 6, nationality. Hit it. Israel. Israel. Later, when I'm sleeping in my start to creeping in my One more time, we're gonna count out from the top. Let's go. 1,
Abraham,
2,
Isaac,
3,
Jacob,
4. Brothers, wake up. 5,
to reality.
6. Nationality. And it Israel. 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 When I'm sleeping in my spirit start to creeping in my in my Hallelujah. All praises be to Father mercy and Jacob for his mercy, surely endure forever. Tonight is definitely a joyous event. We're thanking the Most High for giving us the victory in the face of our enemies. And we're going to continue to bless his name, for his name is worthy to be blessed. And we're going to continue to give him glory and praise, because his name is worthy for the glory and praise due unto him. The scriptures say, let the nations praise his name. Let all the tongues praise his name and be glorified in his name. So we're going to get to heaven. Let's go. Hallelujah. When I get to heaven,
When I get to heaven,
people gonna say,
people gonna say,
how'd you earn your living?
how you earn your living,
How'd you earn your pay?
how you earn your bread.
And I replied with a little bit of anger.
I replied with a little bit of anger.
Earn my living as an Israelite ranger.
Earn my living as an Israelite ranger.
I carry my Bible by my side.
I carry my Bible by my side.
Gonna carry my Bible till the day I die.
And I carry my Bible to the day I
Let's go, Israel. Israel. Praise his name.
Hallelujah.
Praise his name.
Hallelujah.
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 Standing tall, looking good.
Standing tall, looking good.
Reaching to the neighborhood.
Reaching to the neighborhood.
Standing tall, looking good.
Standing tall, looking good.
Reaching to the neighborhood.
Reaching to the neighborhood.
Saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. All praises be to Father God of Jacob for his mercy truly endure forever. We're going to enjoy this night. We're going to praise his name. We're going to bless him. We're going to remember his fame on this earth and how he captured our enemies. So when I get the word, we're gonna set up and start the feasting. We're gonna weigh ourselves. I know we got gifts going out, portions being given one to another. We're gonna do that right after the praise.
You got a little bit, brother. You can tell.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna load out a little bit.
A lot of people complaining about it.
All right, so all places. We gonna dish out the food. The sisters and the children are gonna go first, and the brothers, you get your plate. Do remember, don't forget. Now when we dish out the food, that is for you to eat at this time. We're not dishing out any to-goes until the end of the night. Everybody understand that? Right, the to-goes we're gonna do at the end of the night. So as we dish out the food, that's for you to feast right now and enjoy this feast at this time. Hallelujah. And then at the end of the night, we have excess. Then we're gonna distribute the to-goes. So no to-go trains until the end of the night. Hallelujah. All right. So we're going to continue to praise the Most High, for His name is worthy to be praised. Right, in song. Where's Ash at? Where my singers at? Right. I got to pass the mic over to Kadash. The Kadash got me. Right? Because I need my musicians to hold me down. All right, so are they ready in the back with addition of the food? Marsha, let me know if you're ready. Are they ready in the back? I guess they're ready now. All right, sisters, children, sisters, you can rise, get your food. We'll continue playing these tracks to the Most High. Shalom to everybody online, logged in with the light of Zion. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to Yahshua Israel. Shalom to Shanakah. Shalom to Yashanakah. Right. Shalom to Judge Ehud. Sister Warrior. Shalom to Varadia. Shalom. I can't see who else is up there. All right, all praise to everybody who logged in. Continue to praise the Most High, bless His name. So this is a day to be joyful and glad. Right. We're gonna just keep rocking out. Hallelujah. Kazakia. Put the camera on the drummer. Or just or the piano.